Last week, I mentioned how things were changing. I said we would be starting something new. Well, it's time to start. We packed up on Friday and Saturday, and we didn't get to leave as early as we wanted. But after Jerrison and my neighbor John helped me get packed up, we left. The measurements from the ground to the top of the trusses was about 13 feet. Angel was worried sick. A few times she even gave me the evil eye. She thought this looked dangerous and was convinced that we would not make it down to Kentucky unscathed. She had no faith in me or this traveling setup. This was the first trip with our new trailer. We bought this trailer from Bridge in Woodburn, Indiana, and this is now the third trailer in my history from my friends there. They are great to work with. I found this Rice trailer to be great to pull. It was very steady and sound. Pulling was a breeze and nothing moved. The wood stayed tied together well. Trusses were locked up. The tractor straps stayed tight. There are brackets to hold 2x4s in the sides of the trailer, and we utilized those so we could screw the trusses to them and kept them steady. If there was a problem that I missed, I'm sure we would get pulled over and the state troopers would let us know if there was a problem. Right? Well, we did run into one snafu. About 3 miles from our property, we did get stopped. It was nearly 9 at night, and we see flashing lights at the three-way near Highway 1064, and we slowed down and came to a stop at the sign. It happened to be a checkpoint.
Hello, sir. Good. What's going on?
Just a traffic safety checkpoint, sir.
Okay.
Driver's license on you?
Yes, sir.
What do y'all do for a living?
I'm a newspaper printer and own some land down here on
Just doing some work to it?
Maple or Meadow Creek Road, and just trying to stay down here for the week and put up a little building.
Understand that. Y'all be safe.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for doing your job.
The state trooper was very nice, and we were on our way. A few minutes later, and several winds around the back roads through the mountains, we were backing down the driveway. And this was looking to be tricky because it's now dark. The hours aren't very long right now, and daylight is very valuable. It's difficult enough during the daylight, but now it is dark. What worked well was we turned the lights on the tractor, and since it was parked in reverse on the trailer, we could have them shine behind so that I could see in the mirrors of the truck much better. The lights on the little RK-25 are nearly blinding, they are so bright, and because of that, it lit up the whole space down the driveway. Angel was happy with how we did, and because the trip was completed, and because she was happy, I was happy. How did we get here? I've been working on the trusses and the posts this winter. The trusses were my own design. It's a 7/12 30-degree pitch. I wanted to make sure in such a way that the entire thing would be supporting itself. You may say that you should not notch out anything, but that's the way I've always designed my woodworking, and it has always worked. See the ends of the trusses here? If you push on any of the rises, it's held over here on the other end. It's the same way at every point. The center is overlapping for the same reason. It does not shake like a house truss does, and I think it's because the whole thing is conceptualized, designed, and built as a complete unit. It is better. After I finished making the first one and was happy with it, I took it apart, and I used that for the pattern. I made 6 of them altogether, and then added the gusset plates on both sides. I believe they will work well, but we won't know for certain until we finish the building. While the trusses were being designed and the first one was built, I also made all the posts. I fabricated these posts instead of getting the 6x6 nominals because they seem to always have warped 6x6 beams. I've used quite a few over the years, and it's pretty common, especially out of the big box stores, to not get straight beams. These here, because they are 3 2x6 bonded together with glue, screws, and nails, and the different grains working together, They are very strong and straight. I wasn't worried about using treated wood because we intend to pour the concrete 6 inches above the ground level, and we have 2-foot overhangs. Therefore, I didn't think it necessary. We plan to treat the wood with used motor oil and diesel fuel after we char the outside. They should look nice and be weather resistant, but that is for another day, because we're not to that part of the plan yet. Now that we're down on the land, we have a lot of work to do. It won't be easy, because we have never really done this before. Angel's headed up the mountain. Right here is our trailer. We brought it here last night, unhooked, and I have never had so much on a trailer before. And honestly, it was one of the smoothest trips I ever had. So we've got the whole building, trusses on here, and even the steel is underneath the tractor. The pallet forks moved. Instead of being over here, it's over there. Now I've got to move the whole stack of wood that way because the tractor is offset and this is centered. I don't know if it's easier to see here. Let me show you our little dams that's going on. We have 3, 4 right here within about 100 feet. You can see the big one back through there. There's a small one that we're going to tear out real shortly. This one right here, and then right there. And it's interesting to see how hot the water levels are different at each one. Okay, right there is the new dam they just finished. And you can see the water level differences, several feet. There's the bigger dam. This here was all grass before, but now it's covered. We're also going to put a bridge across here so we can drive the tractor over. Maybe, if that works. See how this goes. But this also gives us a convenient place right now to put our bucket for the concrete. So we're going to use it while we can. I have built a 2-story fort and shed, but nothing quite like this. We have to dig the holes, which is what we wanted to do right away, but then realized this all has to be square and leveled. Ugh, are we capable? Angel and I were frustrated for a little bit, then it started to come together. We got our stakes, orange strings, and string levels. If you use the post hole digger much, I highly recommend getting a PTO slip clutch. Once we finished with the prepping, we came back the next day and started to dig holes. I'm not sure they all came out perfect, but the tractor did a phenomenal job. We were expecting all kinds of impediments, roots, rocks, maybe even boulders, just below the surface. Luckily, we really only hit a few small roots. What we didn't plan on was that the beavers had been causing all along, and that is a high water table. Several of the holes filled up with water quickly. Others took overnight. But by the time we got to the concrete, every one of them had water in them. The beavers have to go. But I don't have time to take care of them now, and I have to do something different than just going out and breaking the dams by hand every few months. Perhaps we can think of something different. Something that will be better. Removing each dam and not just cutting a gap in them? We'll try that later. We use the tarp to catch the dirt, so there's a lot less to try and get out of the stones. It's not perfect, but it's better than just letting it go everywhere. We're going to wrap this up for now and start the concrete next. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Take care, God bless, have a great day.
Sonotube. Bucky's is actually manageable Saturday nights at 6:45 p.m. You can actually get in and get out without waiting a long time. What do you think, Angel? Not bad this time, huh? Last week, when it was 0 degrees, my water bottle froze. But so far, since we're only around 10 degrees, it's not frozen yet. We'll see what happens throughout the day. I needed space, so the scissor truss is going to give me a little more space, and I also like the design of it. Thanks for following me on this. There's a few things I want to point out. You're probably asking, why did I go about this instead of paying somebody to make them for me? There's a couple reasons. One is I'm kind of stubborn, and two, well, part of that stubbornness comes that I want to make sure I know what I'm getting. I've seen those other trusses that you get at Menards or some of the big box stores, and I'm not extremely happy with those. A lot of times they're made out of 2x3s, which we know aren't 2 or 3. Same way with 2x4s, but at least a 2x4 is going to be more than a 2x3. That's why I designed it this way. That is why I built them myself. Now, you can tell me in the comments below whether you think that was a good idea or whether it was better off to order them. But I like the scissor truss. I like the cathedral. I like to be able to have more room because this RV here, it's tall.